Good to have everybody. Please stand. Thank you. So good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Madison. I'm George Hidalgo, Club President, and thanks for joining us today. So my opening message is related to Memorial Day. I think some of you saw as you came in that there was a fallen heroes table that was set up. And please read the information on that that really explains the significance of that display. And this Memorial Day, take a minute to reflect on the servicemen and women who selflessly gave their lives for their country. I know quite often we think Memorial Day is picnics and the start of summer and so forth, but remember that there was a lot of men and women who sacrificed for our freedoms. So thank you very much. Now let's go on to opening music. Let's direct attention to Jeff and Angela Bartel, who will sing and play Your Grand Old Flag. Please be seated. So our first announcement, we're in the final stretch on our Rotary International Fund Drive. And so I'll ask Mary Donahue to come on up and tell us how we're doing. I know we made some pretty good progress last week, so hopefully the news is even better now. Mary?
Thank you, President George. Okay, this is it. This is the last outfit that fits. So this is my last plea for you to take a moment this week and write out your check for Rotary International Foundation. I'm very happy, though, to say that to date, from 116 donors, we've raised $32,736 toward our $45,000 goal. So thank you. Thank you all for answering our call. Now, the last couple of weeks, I had an opportunity to tell you a little bit about the upcoming projects, the things we're involved in now in Chile and in the Ukraine. And then just this morning, we received an update from the project that we'd been involved in. This is the final third year of the project. You may remember it as Change Her Story. That's how we first began talking about it. Currently, it now has the title of Be in School Every Day. But I'm really happy to be able to share the news that despite all of the challenges of COVID, this year they really accomplished a great deal. They distributed 8,000 menstrual hygiene kits in over 90 schools. That is something else. And again, it's not just the distribution of those kits to the young women in schools. It's also the training with the children, the boys and the parents. And that also was conducted in each of those 90 schools. They worked with an advisory committee of nurses from 4 different districts. They trained 90 coordinators in each one of those 90 schools got a coordinator. So they trained 90 of them. They provided wash stations in each of those participating schools in response to both Be in School Every Day and COVID-19. And the nurses that were doing training in the districts, as they were going out and they were talking about the pandemic, if those children in that household were part of a participating school, they also talked about the Be in School project. So we actually had a little kind of boost, another venue of coordination and communication. I just want to tell you all that these gifts that you're making really do make a difference. It really does allow this club to really participate in things all across the globe. It's a really important thing that you're doing, and I want to emphasize that you still have time to make that gift. We do need to hit that goal of $100 per member to get those matching dollars from our district and from Rotary International. You did get an email yesterday. If you haven't yet participated, I hope you'll take some time, take a look at that, and then maybe I'll have a surprise. Maybe I'll splurge on a new outfit for next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And just, in case people didn't know, during the start of the pandemic last year, we actually met the goal also. So if you think about all the unknowns that we had at that point, right? We didn't know if we have jobs, the whole economy shutting down, you know, with 90% unemployment. I mean, it was, you know, catastrophic what we were facing at that time. And our membership still came forward, and we actually exceeded the goal of more than $100 per person. So we can do that then when we didn't know what we were facing. And now we're in a situation where the vaccines are all out. I think 99.9% of everybody here, if not 100%, is vaccinated already. And the reason I say that, because I have some guests that I don't know, but I will assume the way things are, that everybody here is vaccinated. So, and I think I was talking to Steve Elke. He says that in Dane County, it's over 70%. We're one of the highest in the country. So it's pretty safe. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So the future is a little bit clearer for all of us. So let's see what we can do to hit that $100 target. And I would love to see Mary up here again saying that we exceeded the target. So I look forward to that. And I'm sure you'll find an outfit. Okay, so in terms of last week, we had a membership vote. If you remember, it was related to the dues structure. And it was the Budget Finance Committee did a report, went to the board. The board recommended that we do an increase in our membership dues for the 2021 to 2022 Rotary year. So last week, we called for a vote. It actually went out electronically. And basically, I think we had about 280 people voted, which is more than half of our membership. And we were able to prove the significant increase of standard members paying an extra 19 cents a week. Exempt members 19 cents a week, and then inactive members 9 cents a week, and life member dues remaining the same. So I point out the cents because it really wasn't a significant increase, and of course most of the members voted for that. So there was a lot of comments, and I read through all the comments that came back, and so the couple things I wanted to highlight was there was a comment reference, well, why don't we have a balanced budget? And that was related to the comment that where our proposal was going in was a $6,300 shortfall. But it is a balanced budget because we as a board, the board agreed to use the reserve funds in order to go ahead and bring us a balanced budget. So for those Rotarians who say, well, why aren't we putting forth a balanced budget? It is a balanced budget. We're just dipping at the reserve funds. And if you're saying, well, why are you dipping the reserve fund? I can't think of a better reason than gosh darn surviving a pandemic, right? As why, I mean, it's for bad things that happen, right? And so going to the reserve funds does, make sense. So one of the things people are saying, well, if we've got a slight deficit, what's going to happen in the future? Again, part of our operational structure is the fact that we're a large club, and so we have a lot of fixed costs. So for example, for this room, we probably have about 65 people in here today. And as most of you remember, we've had as many as 270 people in here, right? Well, guess what? We pay $500 for renting this room. Whether we have 30 people or we have 300 people, it's the same amount. That's a fixed cost, right? And if you think about $500 times, let's say we meet 50 times, that's $25,000 cost, right? Well, if each member is paying about $600, right? So when all of a sudden, when you lose members, that does have a role in what the budget situation is going to be. So one of the things that we can do is obviously get back to we've been as high as 510 members, get back to 460 members, which will help us obviously come, on the budget. Now, if we remain at 400, and that's a hard task, to get it up to 460, I think we can as a group. We're very Madison is a very giving community. We care a great deal about our community, and we got unbelievably talented people in our Rotary Club. We should be able to do 460. If we can't, and we only say about 400, then at that point we'll have to go back and look at, well, what changes do we have to make? As you know, we do have full-time staff. We obviously pay rent for that for the offices there, so we have to really reevaluate our club operational process, how we run the club, if we don't get back to the 460 number. Now, the other thing to remind people, starting July 1st, the stand members will be required to buy 12 meals every 6 months, which is equivalent to 50% attendance. And if you want to do more, then you buy them separately. one of the other questions that came up is sometimes there's a little bit confusion as what a standard member is. So standard member is most of us, okay? An exempt member is basically years, so their age, right? Plus their number of years in Rotary, 85, okay? So for example, I'm 63, I've been in Rotary 7 years, so that puts 70. So I got 15 years old, 15 years more as a member before I can be, well, I would say, half of that, right? When you think about it, yeah, half of that. So 7 plus 7, right? Before I can be an exempt member, right? And then if you look at what's a life member, so life member is someone like Lou. He's 80 years old, over 80 years old, and has been over 30 years in Rotary. So that's pretty good to being a life member. So that's. So if anyone has questions, reference the budget and so forth, please ask myself or members of the Budget Committee or the Rotary office. But again, thank you very much for the vote, approving that small increase, but I think it makes it viable long term. So with that, let's go on to member interview series. So we continue our monthly series by having a newer member of our club interview a longer term member. And this helps us not only connect to the new member, but also hear a lot about our longer term member. One of the things, like I said, I've been in the club 7 years. I'm just amazed at the caliber of Rotarians, the great people that we have here. Not only that, but also it's amazing learning the new members that join us. So with that, we kicked off this program, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback from fellow Rotarians about that. And this month we have Bob Calder, who interviewed longtime Rotarian and past President Dave Mullenhoff. So before he talks about Dave Mullenhoff, who is here today, so that's fantastic. First, a little bit about Bob. He is a retired physician and was formerly from Merck Pharmaceuticals. He also served in the U.S. Army and received 3 Army Commendation Medals. So Bob is listed in Who's Who in the World, and he's also an Eagle Scout, which anybody that's done scouting knows that's the pinnacle of scouting. And Bob currently serves as an assistant adjunct professor of medicine for the Medical College of Wisconsin. He enjoys sailing, reading, and has bicycled over 42,000 miles since 2005. And Bob will now come forward and tell us more about his interview with past President Dave Mullenhoff. Bob?
Thank you very much, President George. Madison would look very different today were it not for Dave Mullenhoff. And I'll tell you, I really enjoyed my interview with Dave. I can't remember the last time that I had a conversation that touched on philosophy, theology, history, the meaning of life that lasted an hour and a half and felt like 5 minutes. So I think the last time that happened was probably in college over a beer or two. It's possible. And to even list the projects that Dave has spearheaded, the community efforts that he's led, the organizations that he's guided, would take me at least an hour, and I'm a fast talker. So I think to describe Dave in as few words as possible, I would say that he is a card-carrying visionary who has been tireless in his efforts to both reimagine and remake Madison into the kind of place that most of us would never want to leave. And if we do, we come back. So he's written several books and is working on more. He's led the creation of parks and real estate developments while working to preserve our past, serving on the Madison Landmarks Commission and many other civic boards. He also led Habitat for Humanity in Dane County and helped to make housing more affordable by lowering construction costs. And in addition to these large-scale projects, Dave holds 5 patents in 10 countries, no kidding. And he's a very curious person who seeks better ways to engineer things, ranging from a toothbrush, he has a patent on that, to learning how to better manage a business or better to run a city better. He's really a Renaissance man, a real polymath, and I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with him. And I haven't even mentioned Dave's involvement in Rotary yet. He was our president a little over 30 years ago, from 1990 to 1991. And I know for most of us, Rotary is our principal community activity, and to be the president of Rotary is is the pinnacle of community leadership. But for Dave, it's just one of his many community activities. And so in summary, if there are a few areas of life in Madison that Dave has not touched. If you enjoy Monona Terrace, Madison history, including our historic buildings, protecting our environment, especially our lakes, helping young people, or figuring out how to be a better neighbor, then you will appreciate and be inspired by the intelligence, the vision, and the hard work of David Mollenhoff. Yes, Madison is different today because of Dave. And Madison will be different 100 years from now because of him. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Bob, and that's fantastic. As I mentioned before, we know Bob is very talented, but I've been a member 7 years, didn't know much about Dave, and it's phenomenal learning the impact he had on our community. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for what you've done, Dave. We have announcements, and so I want to talk about committee fellowship groups, which most of you got an email about it. So let me. It's a pretty straightforward form for those that are not familiar with it, and someone like Sarah that. I know, Sarah, you probably got this fellowship and committee sign-up form, and then you started with the club in March, and then we were on a hiatus, and so you actually probably didn't get a chance to participate in a lot of these things. So this is a little bit of explanation on what these two forms, and these forms are on a table outside. So we have a committee sign-up form and a fellowship group sign-up form. So one of the things that we ask Rotarians is that our committees do a lot of the work, whether it's scholarships, right, whether it's community grants. There's a lot of activities that keep our club running and help us contribute to the community. And as I said, we donate, what, $750,000 a year this past year this past Rotary year to our community, along with, I think Maggie Porter-Krause is here, and I think her and her team, her committee did, everybody remember October, was October, right? When we gathered socks together for the homeless. So there's a great deal of things that we do in order to support our community. And people who make it happen are the people in the various committees, whether it's community grants, community projects, Interact, Rotaract, whatever it may be. So this is a pretty simple form on two sides, and then it says committee, and all you have to do is put your name and then check some boxes. So you can actually get this form done in less than a minute. So please, we need it because the committees make our Rotary Club work. So please provide some feedback, or please provide your response. And if you did it last year, we ask for every year because people's interests kind of change, right? And the second form is our fellowship groups. And as I mentioned last week, that with our fellowship groups, I mean, it's like going on a cruise and not doing excursions, or going to the movie theater and staying in the lobby the whole time. You're not going to watch the movie. There's a lot of fun in this club, and because we're a large club, that's what makes it, so special. And I look at, I think several of us went to a Veterans Fellowship group last night that hosted by Ellis and Katie Waller, and there was 29 of us there, and we were hugging and talking, and all of us were vaccinated, and it was like we were like released from solitary confinement, right? With this pandemic being over. But I mean, that was fantastic. I've never seen, and now I use Bob's example, I've never seen 90 minutes go by so fast. We wanted to take pictures for the group, and then by the time it came around, I was like, holy cow, it's 7 o'clock, and people are starting to leave. So it was a fantastic time, and getting to know your fellow Rotarians is really outstanding. It's an unbelievable number of people. So again, that's one of the fellowship groups, and put your name on it. Then you can go through here, and it's pretty straightforward. You like baseball? Hey, guess what? There's a fellowship group for that. You like beer and homebrew? Guess what? We got people to help that on that. Big wheels, bicycle, bird hunting. I know I've done bird hunting with some people, which bird hunting I never did before I joined Rotary, right? So here I am in my 60s, and I'm doing things I've never done in my life before. So Rotary actually helps you grow, okay, if you think about it. There's a bowling team with shirts and everything else. If you like bridge, right? If you like Broadway shows, right, they're going to start back up. Like cooking, culinary arts, cultural awareness, dinner and discussion. I know I've seen an announcement for that. Genealogy and family history, going green, golf, hiking, skiing. And I know that the hiking and skiing, I've signed up for that one because, like I said, I'm from New York. I never did walking on ice in Lake Monona. You know, it's like, what, really? People do that out in the Midwest? So that's something new for me. Motorcycle fellowship, and that's a great one. I think they have do they have a ride coming up, or they had one last week? Okay, so there's rides. You want to ride the countryside with fellow Rotarians? You want to manage your investments? There's a Rockefeller's investment group, right? So you want to get tips on people who have time to study all that stuff. Scotch whiskey, of course, that's a real popular one. Scouting, Second Century. I mean, I can go through it, but there are so many things. What makes our club so special is just the many people and the many talents that we have in our club. And you can, you know, yesterday, just meeting some of the spouses and hearing the stories and so forth, I mean, it was just a fantastic, my wife and I on a drive home, we said, wow, that was just fantastic. It's just great to socialize again. So again, Rotary makes that happen. You can have fun, but in order to work, we have to go ahead and submit. And I don't think there's a limit on how many fellowship groups you can sign up for. Remember, you only get the announcements for the fellowship groups you sign up for. So, because otherwise you'll be overwhelmed with all the communication. So please sign up for that. And for those that have an issue with the electronics, we actually have some hard copy forms on a table out there, so feel free to fill them out then. Next announcement I have is about our meetings, right? So next week, Dane County is lifting its requirements on the restrictions on gatherings, right? So the 6-foot separation, the mask, I mean, there's a lot of things that will change. So one of the things that we have been doing is we've been video recording our weekly meetings, you know, for a long time, probably about 5 years. But we started live streaming, right? So one of the things that we're going to do is end the live streaming as of next Wednesday. And so it'll be videotaped and you'll watch it. It was done in the past. You can watch it on Thursday or Friday whenever, you know, it gets posted if you miss a meeting, but we won't be live streaming. And part of the issue is it requires a lot more resources, a lot more coordination. And we have two people who have done a phenomenal job, both Brian Baskin and Jason Barron, who are back there. Yeah. I mean, they're doing the live streaming and they're making it possible. And those that dealt with technology and live streaming know it's not easy. You need to know what the heck you're doing. Otherwise, your participants will actually suffer. It won't be worthwhile. So we'll continue to record the meetings, but we're going to rely on a large group of volunteers, which we did before, in order to help with the task. So starting next week, there will be no live streaming. We'll be videotaping, but it's so you can watch a little bit later. So we hope you'll attend in person, but if you're not be here in person, then watch the video. Now members will need to continue to register to attend meetings, okay? And part of it is we're slowly gonna work ourselves back, as information comes out, to getting back to where we have more people here. So next week we'll go, if you look at your table, you're limited to 3. So when the restriction ends, which is June 2nd, we're gonna open the table up to 4, okay? So the reason it is you don't have the 6-foot separation anymore, and we don't want to go to 8. That may freak people out, and we may have to have some of our counselors help in here. So we'll try to avoid that. So we'll need to continue to register to attend meetings, and one of the things that's going on is obviously there's a certain stigma about buffets and how do you handle that in the hotels and restaurants are trying to get back into it. So there's ways to do it safely, and we want to make sure we're doing that. So next week you'll get an announcement for, do you want salmon? And then it'll be on a plate and we'll cover like you picked your meal today. But if you want a salad, and there'll be a salad bar. So that way we kind of, it's almost like crawl, walk, run is how we'll get back to our regular routines. So there's some courtesy items that I also want to make announcements on. And if you don't want food, and, we do have tables where, let me see. I'm trying to remember where the tables are. There are tables marked that, yeah, there's a table that no one's sitting at that says no food, okay? So we'll still continue to offer those tables, so don't, you know, and you don't take off your mask. So, and just common courtesy, and this is all new for us, so, and I always tell my employees that common sense isn't as common as you think. And so let's talk about things, you know, and that's important. So if you're at a table and want to take your mask off to talk while masks are still required, which is, you know, it comes down to an issue of how other people feel comfortable at your table. Just ask, hey, you mind if I take my mask off? It's almost like I've approached several people, and it's like, okay, do I do the elbow? Do I do a fist pump? Or can I shake hands, right? This is all new to us, right, in a sense, as we're figuring out the social dynamics. So I think with Sandy Morales, I hadn't seen her in like 15 years, and we always talk about her 9-year-old daughter and how her charity is doing, you know, and so forth, big brothers, big sisters, right? And I'm just thinking, okay, I want to hug her, but I can't. So we hugged. Yeah. So it was good. It's like it's been so good to see each other. But you know, we're going to have those things that you're a little bit uncomfortable, but don't hesitate to ask. You know, so ask the other people on the table, hey, is it all right if I take my mask off? That's one thing, because you know, communication is really key. And the other thing that I always notice, even when you have a lot of people, is you'll have someone that may come in and they're wondering where to sit, and they go to the table, and that seat is taken because someone to the restroom or something like that. So I would encourage people that are at a table, you know, if you see someone walking around with a plate in their hand, right, and you got an empty seat, call them out, you know, and say, hey, please come over and sit with me and stuff like that. That makes everybody feel welcome. It's the little things where we care about each other that makes our club so special. So let's keep that in mind, okay, as we go forward. So with that, let me go on to birthdays. So we have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of music, a little bit of humor and wisdom that complements Rotary's mission. So we also encourage members to make an age-appropriate gift to the Madison Rotary Foundation, rounded up again to $100 for our Club Synergy Scholarship Fund. So on May 23rd, we have Ashley Powell. May 24th, Amber Franz. May 25th, Nancy Young. And if you're here, please stand. Okay, I thought I saw Nancy here. Okay. No. Okay, May 26th, Marv Levy. May 26th, Eli Schatz. And May 26th, Julie Swenson. Okay. May 27th, Mark Laufman. May 28th, Saul Blumenfeld. May 28th, Mike Carlson. And May 28th, Rob Ringesheim. Okay, so thanks to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Please join me in wishing them happy birthday. And then Lane Mishler will play happy birthday on the piano. So congratulating the birthday recipients, and we'll go ahead, and we're supposed to go on to members in the news, but obviously it's a little bit busier right now in terms of time, because I know we got a big program here at staff. So what I may do is just highlight, you'll see it every Wednesday, every Friday on the email members in the news, but, and there's 5 members. You got Renee Mo, Catherine Smith, Lou Harnett, Ann Newart Morrison, and Masoud Akhtar. So let me highlight Lou, and basically 96-year-old veteran who served in World War II, the Korean War and the Gulf War, and was interviewed as he continues the tradition of honoring fallen soldiers by placing flags on veterans' graves at the Lima Center Cemetery in Whitewater. And Lou says it's an honor to be able to still do this at my age. So I think most of you saw it on NBC 15. So let's give Lou a round of applause for what he does. Yep, Lou. So thank you very much. And at that time, we have our annual Rotary Scholarship Program, and I'll call on Laura Beck, Chair of this year's Scholarship Committee, to begin the program. Laura?
Thank you, Mr. President. So we're back again. I just want to say how much I appreciate being in the room. This is my first lunch back, and I'm enjoying it very much, and I can't wait to come back regularly. We are here today to celebrate our high school scholars who are recipients of our class of 2021 scholarships. I'm Laura Peck. I'm chair of the scholarship committee, and we have many members who have worked tirelessly to make this day possible. We also have 25 really ambitious, wonderful high school students who are graduating from our Madison High Schools this year and are getting ready to head to college. They're a class of students who have, for the most part, attended school virtually this year because of the pandemic, and this is our second virtual Rotary Scholarship Program, unfortunately. But it's just as good as the ones in person. We've got, unfortunately, having all of our students with us and their guests would have put us over our capacity limit, so we couldn't have them with us today. But we greet them all virtually, and hopefully we will be seeing them soon. First, I want to thank the people who are standing behind those scholars, their parents, their families, their guardians, for all the support and encouragement that you've given your children. I've met every single one of these scholars, and they're wonderful people. You've got a lot of reason to be proud of them. Behind the scenes at school, there's also a strong network of people who have worked very hard to shape the positive futures of our students, our scholars. These are the high school counselors and teachers who invest their time and energy in helping launch these college careers of our scholars. They work very hard also in building relationships and understanding each of the students that they are putting forth to our committee. High school counselors, teachers, and administrators, I want to thank you as well for your hard work and support of our scholars. Thank you. I also want to mention the magnitude of what we're doing here today, what these scholarships really mean. We've got a new group of scholars for 2021. There's 25 of our scholars, and all of them come to us because our scholarships make a difference to them. Sometimes it's the difference between them being able to go to college at all, or being able to attend the college that they really want to attend. They've got financial needs here. And scholars, each of you have been selected because of your academic potential and your strong personal character. We're amazed at how much you've already accomplished in your 17 or 18 years of life, and we applaud the fact that you've already been generous and given of your time and energy to our community to make it better. College is an investment. Our Rotary scholarships invest in our scholars, and what we try to do is we try to fill the gap between what the financial need is of our scholars and what what we can afford to give and what the colleges have, the college, I forget the name, I'm sorry, the college budget that has been given to them for each of them, the grants and scholarships that they've received. So we try to fill that gap. That's the most, that's the goal of our committee. This is an award that you scholars will be receiving each year of your 4 years in college, and we hope that you'll keep your student debt to a minimum. Let's hope that our scholarships really reduce the need for that debt. Scholars and Rotarians, please meet some of the people who have made this happen today. We've got 15 named scholarship funds. Marv and Jeff Levy have the Irving and Dorothy Levy Family Fund. And we are sorry to announce that Marv and Jeff's brother Phil, who was a longtime member of our Rotary Club, passed away earlier this year. Also among us is Regina Millner, Perry Henderson, and his late wife, Virginia. Perry, good to see you here today. Dave and Julie Warzalla, and Dick Goldberg. Ellie Schatz and Arlen Kai and his late wife, Lori, have made gifts also to provide grants to scholars as they're completing their college studies and beyond. And we'll hear more about those later in this year. In addition, we've got Rotarian donors who are no longer with us. Nate Brand, Robert Bolz, Fred Brandenburg, John Frautschi, Harry French, Louis Hirsig, Thomas Leonard, Andrew McBeath, and Cheryl R. Weston. And there's more. Our Synergy Fund was created in 2008, and it allows all of us Rotarians to give in any amount. It all adds up. Scholars, you go to college with a goal to graduate, and Rotarians, we show our belief in their abilities to do so and support them all along the way. You've also heard about our Rotary Scholar Mentor Program. It's a rewarding program that's been building relationships between Rotarians and scholars for well over a decade now. I've had, I think, 4 mentees, scholars that I mentor over the last 10 years, and it's a very rewarding experience. These kids are wonderful, and we get as much out of it as they get from us, I am absolutely sure. It's a very special and meaningful relationship. And there's time to still sign up to be a mentor if you want. Contact the office. Before we introduce this year's Rotary Scholars, we're going to hear from Matita Bojang, a class of 2017 Rotary Scholar. Matita was born in Gambia and came to Madison when she was 12. Her Rotary Scholar mentor has been Melody Ramey. Matita graduated from Memorial High School and entered Uw-Milwaukee, initially interested in becoming a pharmacist. However, along the way, she switched to pre-med. She graduated this month and has been accepted at the Medical College of Wisconsin Medical School for this fall in 2021. So I would like to call Matita now to the stage.
Thank you. All right, thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you to my mentor, Melanie Ramey. Can you guys, what? You can hear? A little bit, okay. Is this better? Yes, okay. All right, so during my sophomore year of college, I found myself in one of 3 makeshift labor rooms at a health center in rural Gambia, where my mother gave birth to me 22 years ago. I stood there overwhelmed as I witnessed a 28-year-old, soon-to-be mother of 4, getting ready to give birth. Staring at her clenched face and teary eyes, she forced out a few words, asking for the health professionals to alleviate her discomfort. As her pain intensified, she became concerned about giving birth successfully, knowing that many Gambian women fail to do so. Without realizing it, I began to cry, as her case reminded me of the many Gambian women I knew who died during or shortly after childbirth. The agony they all shared was the most painful thing I had ever witnessed. As I continued to volunteer at this clinic, I learned that many patients perished often due to preventable diseases like measles or diphtheria. When I lived in Gambia, I experienced many close relatives and friends die young from these same avoidable causes. As a young girl, this reality was appalling, and I wished for the answers to save my loved ones. I share this story because it solidified my decision to pursue a career in medicine, but it also reminds me of how privileged I am to be able to pursue higher education in this country. Having been born and raised in the Gambia, I could have easily been lost as a child due to the endemic diseases and poverty in Gambia. But I was fortunate enough to go abroad and pursue my goals of becoming a doctor. I joined my mother in the United States 9 years ago after many challenges. Because my mother did not graduate from high school and did not know how to write, it fell to me to fill out applications and manage paperwork from banks, schools, and assistance programs. Despite this background, I never had a doubt that I would attend college because I knew that I had this long-term goal of becoming a doctor. Being a low-income first-generation college student, I knew that I would need a lot of financial and academic support. If it was not for the Rotary Scholarship and my mentor, Melanie Ramey, none of that would have been possible because the financial burden that the cost of college places on individuals from my background is sometimes too great to bear. I have seen friends drop out of college, take a semester or two off to work to be able to afford tuition. Because of the Rotary Scholarship, I was able to focus on my studies and attain competitive grades and an acceptance to medical school. Also because of the Rotary Scholarship, I broke the cycle of not pursuing higher education in my family. Words cannot express how grateful I am for this scholarship program. As I mentioned before, where I come from, a college education is a privilege. It is something that only the elite can afford. I can bet you right now there's a Gambian girl or boy who would do anything to be in your position right now, to not only have gotten accepted to college, but to have also received a generous scholarship. If you ever think about giving up, I want you to think about that. In college, you will be presented with many opportunities, and if those opportunities align with your goals and interests, I urge you to take full advantage of them. Additionally, wherever you're going, make sure you build your support system. That could be a group of friends, faculty or staff, a program, or even your family. Build your support system early on and hold on to those relationships for dear life as they will become critical during your highs and lows. As I end my speech, I want to leave you with one question, a question that keeps me going. What is your purpose in life? Thank you for having me and congratulations on an incredible milestone.
Thank you, Matita, for those words to live by. I'm sure our 2021 scholars are learning from you. Now, let's go ahead and meet all of our 2021 Rotary Scholars. We asked these students to respond to 3 different questions, one of these 3. We asked, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Or, what are the most important rewards that you expect to gain from your college career? Or, how do you define success to you? And we'll hear from each of these scholars as we go along. Helping me with introductions today are members of our scholarship committee, Juan Jose Lopez, Dick Lovell, and Oscar Mireles, who will give us a brief overview of our scholars. And Juan, you're up first. Thank you.
President Jorge, our committee members, let me tell you, it was a lot of work, but I enjoy it. I wish I could say something to Sandy, but I can't. I'm a member of the committee, and it's been an honor to serve with Laura, Dick, and Oscar. So I want to thank Laura. The first one I'm going to start off with is the Nathan Brandt Scholar, and the person that's receiving the scholarship is Dayani James. Dayani is graduating from La Follette High School and will be attending Marquette University to study kinesiology. Is she on there? Oh, yeah, she's on there. Dayani defines success as follows. Once I finish school at Marquette University, Doctor of Physical Therapy program, I hope to receive a job in my field of study right away, so that I am able to help people relieve pain, increase their mobility, and decrease their long-term physical disability. Let's give her a round of applause for her. Our next scholarship recipient is the Frederic Brandenburg Scholar. And this young man, also all of them are very sharp, is Arturo Gararama Santibáñez. Arturo is graduating from East High School and will be studying chemical engineering at UW-Madison. He says, I think a person is successful once they have achieved their goals. To me, it seems like society's definition of success includes money and popularity. I do not think that success should be defined by how much money you make, but instead the impact you make. Let's give them a round of applause. Next, I am pleased to present the Dick Goldberg Scholar. I think Dick Goldberg is here, if I'm not mistaken. And the person receiving the scholarship is Emily Shong. She will begin her college career at Madison College after graduation from West High School this coming month. She plans to study biology, kinesiology, and graphic design. Emily says, I see myself in 5 years accomplishing my dreams of becoming a better version of myself. I see a woman who's still growing along the way, reaching towards bigger goals, achieving dreams while being an influence towards my family and friends, doing what my family and friends couldn't do so that I can fulfill their success and mine all together with the help of their support. Let's give her a round of applause. The next one, which I'm honored to introduce, because I know these two individuals very well, is our Dr. Perry and Dr. Virginia Henderson Scholar. Jada Woods, who is graduating from La Follette High School. And will be attending Spelman College to study psychology and theater. Jada says, I see myself in 5 years as an intern somewhere in Georgia watching other African American psychologists run their own private practices. I will have made my family proud, and I will keep doing great things to better myself and my future. Let's give her a round of applause. Our next one is the Louis Hirsig Scholar, and that is Alexandra Brown, who is graduating from La Follette High School and will be studying elementary education at Wisconsin Lutheran College. Alexandra says, in 5 years, I hope to be starting my first year of teaching second grade and third graders. I will be better, stronger person, starting my new career to make a difference in young children's lives by teaching them the power of knowledge and shaping their lives for their futures. Upcoming teacher, let's give her a round of applause. The next scholarship recipient is the Thomas Leonard and Dave and Julie Worzala Scholar, and her name is Isabella Rosales. Isabella will be studying nursing at DePaul University in Chicago after her graduation from West High School. Isabella says, in 5 years, I will be working at a hospital as a nurse, working my way up to the neonatal intensive care unit. I want to become a labor and delivery nurse, as I have worked with children and the elderly, but not yet babies. And I want to expand my knowledge across all ages. I also want to work towards a PhD. Let's give Isabella a round of applause. The final scholar, which I have an honor in my group, is the Regina Millner Scholar. Is Regina here? I think I saw her earlier, or maybe not. And the person is Rayquan Timothy. Rayquan Timothy is graduating from Edgewood High School and will be attending Clark University to study nursing. Rayquan says, in 5 years, I will work to become a nurse how do I pronounce that word? Anesthesiologist. Thank you. See, Dick, you should have done the enunciation for the, because I think I got the names right, but I want to help people medically and also help them by putting a smile on their face. With the support of my family and peers who have led me down a path of success, I truly believe that I can accomplish anything, and I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to Rotary, who sees the potential in me. Let's give him a round of applause. Again, I spent a lot of hours with these three individuals, and boy, I could give Dick's speech every time we got together. And it's my honor to introduce Dick Lavelle, who will introduce the next set of scholars.
Thank you, Juan. In the interest of time, I think we're going to hold our applause for everybody until Oscar and I have introduced the rest of the scholars. No problem, though. I want to stand and applaud every one of these kids. It's my pleasure to introduce the next set of scholars, and I'll start with our John Frautschi and Andrew McBeath scholar, who is Adasia Shannon. Soon to graduate from Memorial High School, Adasia will study criminal justice at Tennessee State University this fall. Adasia shares, "I want to have a career in criminal justice. I want to encourage more African Americans to join this career in order to promote more diversity and different perspectives regarding issues in the system. This career can use more people that want to make a positive difference, which is why I want to do this." We have a Harry French and Andrew McBeath scholar, and that's Pedro Martinez Lopez. After Pedro graduates from East High School, he will attend Iowa State University and study engineering. Pedro shares with us, "In 5 years, I plan to be a commercial residential architect. My goal has always been to be part of a team that has built nice-looking buildings in downtown Madison. After being in the construction industry, then, I will want to have my own construction company and begin doing my own jobs." Next, we have a Robert Bolz and Harry French scholar, and that's Tazhaya Mcnair. Tazhaya is graduating from La Follette High School and will be studying sociology or musical theater at Howard University. She says, 5 years from now, I will have found a way to incorporate sociology and therefore garner a better understanding of inequities and tools to solve them. I will be surrounded by people who fuel me with energy, positivity, and joy. I will navigate 24 while attempting to coach my younger siblings entering into college and adulthood. I don't want to skip a page here. Our next Harry French scholar, is Copper Daniel. Copper will study criminal justice at Tennessee State University after graduating from Memorial High School. And Copper says, "I've always had a passion for service and helping underserved communities. Helping Black and brown people for a full-time career is my dream. Once I can help people find jobs and housing and support them while they are being reoriented into society, often after being in prison, I can define my ultimate success. This will define my ultimate success." Our next French scholar is Lewa Diarra. Lewa's from West High School and will study psychology at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in the fall. Lewa says, "In the future, I want to become a clinical psychologist. One important reward I will get from that is being able to help people with their mental health. Being able to help them would be a very fulfilling career." Our next French scholar is Litsy Gomez. After graduating from Memorial High School, Litsy will attend UW-Stevens Point to study interior architecture. And she says, "There may be many obstacles that get in the way of someone's path to success, but being able to work around the adversity is a necessary skill to be successful. As long as a person is proud of themselves for achieving a goal, they are successful. No one can tell them otherwise, as they are the only ones who know the sacrifices they made in order to be who they are." And our final French scholar is Farron Lockridge. Farron's from East High School and will be studying environmental science at DePaul University. Farron says, in 5 years, I expect to be doing something in the environmental conservation field. I'm also looking forward to having a regular volunteering routine as well. Our Synergy and Cheryl Weston scholar is Kimberly Jimenez Romero. Kimberly will study engineering and architectural design at Heritage University after she graduates from East High School. Kimberly shares, I see myself as an architect who uses her skills to innovate in society and improve the architectural system. I realize that my success is like a puzzle. In the beginning, you start with one piece and everything seems complicated with no way out. But as time passes, it depends on you. Which pieces will you connect? It can be challenging to find the right piece, but the puzzle will be wonderfully complete if you put your mind to it. I'll now call on Oscar Morales to introduce our final group of scholars.
Well, for those of you who see my smiling face, I'm going to get a tooth implant, so I don't eat pizza when you're in Tucson. But this is, I think, my 6th or 7th year as being part of a Rotary Scholarship Committee. And as you can see from our scholarship keynote speaker, I remember her being in the room by the bank, and she kind of spoke like this, where you could almost not even hear her. And, you know, to see what a talented, inspiring person you've become, you know, what we discussed in the meeting is she needs a mentor. We need someone with a big mouth and a lot of energy, and someone that's going to give her hell. And then somebody said, well, maybe Carol Toussaint. No, they said, maybe Melanie Ramey. And I think I think that's the value of the mentor, is the guidance, love, and support. And that's what Melanie offers. So it's just a pleasure seeing you. And if I would read the minutes, I would know you would have been our keynote speaker, but I did look at it today. Our first, it's my honor to introduce 10 students who will receive the Irving and Dorothy Levy Family Scholarships. I'll start with Pauan Barrow, who is from West High School and will attend UW-Madison to study microbiology and chemistry. Pauan shares, success to me is defined by the freedom of how I get to live my life and the legacy I leave behind. I want the freedom to have my own schedule, to decide for myself what I'm going to do with my day and how to keep myself moving forward. Our second graduate is Balak Dang. After graduating from Edgewood High School, Balak will study psychology at Delaware State College. Balak said, my vision of success is getting my PhD in psychology while being a pro tennis player, where I'll be working in my community to help the next generation of kids to have a successful life. Success is being a leader. I hope as I get older that I will be wiser and smarter so I can continue to help my community. Piper Fuller will be attending UW-Stevens Point to study environmental science and forestry after graduating from Shabazz High School. She says, after completing my education, some of my career interests are city planning, forest management, environmental consultant, and park ranger. I was introduced to these careers by my high school science teacher, who gave me many opportunities to see what these jobs are like in real life. Because of those experiences, I have been able to find a field that is so interesting to me that I can see myself being happy for a very long time. Rhea Hare will stay in Madison at the University of Wisconsin to study business and marketing after graduating from East High School. She says, people don't think of the failures and how many tries it took to gain success. For me, success is about happiness and values. Instead of being rich, be a person with value. And if that doesn't fit the Rotary four-way test, nothing does. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. Nelson Mandela once said, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." Shante Laamba is graduating from Shabazz City High School and will attend Madison College to begin a degree in business management and psychology. This is how Mashanti defines success. For the past 2 years, I have always felt and noticed the potential inside of me, but never knew what I should do with it. The way I define success is being truly happy with where I am in my life. The measure of my true success will be when I reach that point in my life where I know I am fulfilled on the inside. Sheen Lin will study business and finance at UW-Madison after graduating from West High School. Sheen says the most important reward I expect to gain from my future career is the opportunity to face challenges and grow. I look forward to solving problems and continue to learn from them. Just like people say, you will see the rainbow when the storm goes away. I have been in many storms, and I've seen several rainbows. I look forward to viewing more rainbows. Natalie Mcdonald is graduating from La Follette High School and will attend Spelman College to study political science and sociology. She says, I will become a lawyer with a focus on prison reform, and I'll be able to help people by advocating for them through our criminal justice system. With my focus in prison reform, I want to help support mental health resources, exonerate wrongfully convicted people, and improve overall facility conditions. This meaningful and rewarding career I have planned for myself will hopefully make a difference in the world. Destiny Mosina Mensa, who is soon graduating from La Follette High School, will study political science and pre-law at UW-Madison. Success was always an important aspect of my life, but not in a traditional sense. My parents are not very traditional and have molded me into the unique person I am today. My dad always told me that success was not measured by how much money you have, but it is measured by how happy you were. I am the happiest when I am with my family, when I'm expanding my knowledge, and when I am helping others. Kevin Rodriguez plans to study psychology and criminal justice at Uw-Milwaukee after graduating from Memorial High School. He says, when you do what you love, you put passion into the work you do. Take, for example, the famous athlete. They're passionate about a certain sport, and that's why they give it their all during training or a game, because they are doing what they love. If you do what you love, you're a successful person. Success isn't the peak of the mountain, it's the journey. Safwan Takar is graduating from Memorial High School and will begin his studies at Madison College. He plans a career in computer engineering. He shares, in 5 years, I see myself as the first in my family to have graduated from college with a computer engineering degree with a pre-med track on my way to starting my medical education. I see myself spending my downtime brainstorming innovative inventions that will solve environmental, engineering, and medical problems in our world. Congratulations to these scholars, and now I'll take the microphone back to our illustrious leader who had to deal with us four men, Laura Peck.
Oscar, it was my pleasure. Thanks to you and to Dick and to Juan for making those presentations. Thank you, scholars. We look forward to supporting you in your college careers. You've got a whole club of 400 plus members cheering you on in the background, and I hope you remember that. Please reach out for help whenever you need it. Congratulations, scholars. We'll stay in touch. Best wishes. That's our program for this week. And now I'll turn it over to President George.
Well, you know, if nothing makes you feel proud to be a Rotarian, it's just to see the impact that we're having in the community. I mean, all those kids and just what they're saying they're going to do. I mean, if you think about it, we're helping change the world by what we do right here. So let me ask you, do you think that we as Rotarians are making a difference? What do you think? Yes, come on. We definitely are. You should be proud of that. Think about that. We're definitely making a significant difference in the community. So let's continue to make an impact. And thank you very much to the Scholarship Committee for an outstanding job. I understand that I heard a different story. I heard that you got a little bit out of hand, and so Laura, you know, hit you right there in the tooth just to keep the 4 people in line. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I'm sure it was a lot of fun. I think Juan was telling me that you had some really long meetings because you had so many candidates. And again, we were talking about committees. Somebody makes it happen, and it's the committees. Don't forget to volunteer for that. With that, thank you for everything that each and every one of you do, and we are adjourned.